Hello and welcome to the Gripe TV. I'm your host, JP Forte. Now what I'm about to get into is probably going to piss quite a few people off. But then again, I'm good at pissing people off. And it has to do with the abolishment of Columbus Day. Now many of you know, Seattle, Washington recently abolished Columbus Day and have replaced it with Native American Heritage Day. And I'm all for that. I am in full support of the abolishment of Columbus Day, and I am in full support of there being a Native American Heritage Day. And there are many reasons why, which I'm going to get into. Now, Native Americans have been through a lot, and they deserve to have a holiday in their honor. Christopher Columbus, on the other hand, does not deserve a holiday in his honor. Especially with a lot of the things that I've learned about him, and that everyone should actually be aware of. For one, Columbus was not this great explorer out to discover anything. He was actually looking for gold and something to make him rich. On top of that, Columbus was a very sick and sadistic individual, which I'm going to be getting into in a little bit. Now, when we were all in elementary school, everything they taught us about Christopher Columbus was a total lie. You know, they taught us that whole, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered America and all this and that. But in truth, that's not really what happened. Columbus didn't even set foot on the soil of what is now called North America. He actually landed on an island in the Caribbean. And he also landed 8,000 miles off his mark. In fact, he thought that he was in Southeast Asia. So he didn't discover anything, and even if he was to say that he discovered something or a piece of land, there was already people living on it. So how do you discover something as a person when there's already people living on that land? But anyway, when he landed on this island in the Caribbean, I believe it was later named Hispaniola Island or something like that, he had found a group of native people called the Taino. And when he found the Taino, he basically described them as some of the nicest, most gentle people he had ever met. And then on top of that, to make things worse, you know, the Taino that he referred to as Indians, because he thought he was in Southeast Asia, he decided that these people would make great slaves. So when he returns to Spain, he tells the king and queen of Spain what he had found. He found these people that would make great slaves. He basically described them as well-built and handsome. He said that with 50 men, they could subjugate them to do whatever they wanted. So then, on his second voyage back to the island, he arrives, and then what they do is they start telling the native people that they're going to do exactly what they tell them to do, that they are going to basically do everything that Columbus and his men ordered them to do. Told them that it was a message from God, and that they were to adhere to anything that Columbus told them to do. Any of the natives that resisted were immediately tortured and slaughtered, even burned alive. Then he took the men, women and children, and then forced them into slavery. He forced the men and the boys into hard labor. The women and girls were forced in the sex slave trade. As a matter of fact, Columbus himself, as well as many of the members in his crew, took girls as young as 9 and 10 years old as their own personal sex slaves. So also, Christopher Columbus was also a fucking chomo. He was a sick motherfucker. Anyway, the King and Queen of Spain also made Christopher Columbus the governor of this island, I believe. While he was governor of the island, he basically carried out mass enslavement and genocide of the Taínos. And then on top of that, many of the Taínos, to get out of slavery, even committed suicide. The Taíno women purposely aborted their own fetuses by taking some kind of herb that they knew of that would cause them to abort their fetuses. Taíno women that gave birth to infants even killed their own children to prevent them from enduring the horrific conditions that they were now forced to live under. Taíno women that even resisted any of Columbus and his men, they even had Columbus and his men killing their children in front of them too. Columbus and his men just literally massacred these people. Within 25 years after Columbus landed on this island, okay, well, before I get into that, before Columbus landed onto this island, there was an estimated 3 million Taíno people. Within 25 years after Columbus landed on that island, there was only about 15,000 of the Taíno people left. Within 50 years, the Taíno people were completely gone, completely wiped out. So Christopher Columbus also was responsible for a mass genocide. A whole entire group of people wiped out. An entire race of people extinct because of Christopher Columbus. Now, given that whole thing and all these facts, the fact that Christopher Columbus really did not discover that the earth was round, really did not discover the North American continent, the fact that he was a murderer, an enslaver, a rapist, a chomo, and a person who committed genocide and wiped out an entire group of people, why is the abolishment of Columbus Day even up for debate? Why is it even being debated? Columbus Day needs to be abolished. End of story.